Good morning. Welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 p.m. in Bermuda. In Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL Instant Mail address is CATEX-TV. The American actor John Malkovich is 56 years old today. We have a bit of a breaking story coming from the Houston Chronicle down in Houston, Texas. A large plant explosion near the suburb of Seabrook early this morning sent a gigantic plume of smoke billowing into the air. The explosion occurred at an American Acryl, A-C-R-Y-L facility at 11600 Port Road. The fire apparently has been put out. Schools were evacuated. The neighborhood was evacuated. At least two chemical plants are in the vicinity where the explosion occurred. Police say that at least one large boom was heard and felt, and that a massive cloud of smoke is spreading above the area. If you look at the local TV clips, it's pretty impressive. American Acryl was permitted in 2000 to build a $150 million chemical plant in the Bayport Industrial District. The facility is built on about 65 acres and includes a 120,000 ton per year acrylic acid plant. Acrylic acid is a key component in many commonly used household and personal care products, such as disposable diapers and water-based products for paints, inks, and adhesives. American Acryl was formed in 1997. It's a 50-50 joint venture between NA Industries and Atofina Chemicals, who are both North American subsidiaries of Nippon Shokubei and Total Fina Elf, respectively. So that's the pedigree on the Houston blast. Now to our main news. Coming from Copenhagen, a little bit of a ruckus has been caused. Developing nations taking part in the UN Climate Conference in Copenhagen have criticized a leaked document which preposterously proposes that more power be granted to rich nations. The document was leaked last night by The Guardian, a London newspaper. It suggests that the UN's negotiating role should also be sidelined and that the legally binding Kyoto Protocol be abandoned. The Guardian reported that the text was drawn up by representatives of a small group of rich nations. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Denmark are thought to be among those involved in the drafting of the proposals. Developing countries have said that the text is part of a plan by rich countries to set unequal limits on carbon emissions in 2050. Excuse me. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera's correspondent in Copenhagen, said leaks are made because people want to make certain positions public. Quote, "There are two possible reasons for the leak. One is that Western nations are saying this is our bottom line and we're prepared to take any action to safeguard our interests. Or it could be the developing countries leaking it, saying if you're even considering something like this, you're going to have big problems." The Danes are not denying that the document exists, but all they are saying is that it doesn't carry any official weight at all. The text seeks to set a limit on developing nations that would not allow them to emit more than 1.4 tons of carbon per person by the year 2050, while developing nations will be allowed to discharge about 2.7 tons per person. The draft is also understood to call for handing control of climate change finance over to the World Bank, take it away from the UN. The director of Focus on the Global South, a fellow named Walden Bello, a non-governmental organization specializing in policy research, said that the text was evidence of a betrayal on the part of rich nations. He said, "This is a terrible document. The idea that there would be differential limits put on emissions to favor the developed countries, and the fact that there would be an abandonment of the only legitimate framework, which is the Kyoto Protocol, this simply is not what the developing countries were expecting. They were expecting the rich countries to make a serious offer, and this is definitely not a serious offer at this point in time." So there's going to be much more going on there, I'm sure. Excuse me. In the United States, there's a pretty fierce winter storm rumbling around the Midwest, leaving dangerous ice, heavy snow, and vicious winds in its wake. It's closed hundreds of schools in the upper Midwest and through New England. More than a foot of snow was expected in parts of Illinois, Wisconsin, and Iowa, with the National Weather Service warned of extremely dangerous blizzard conditions. Wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour could also build snowdrifts up to 15 feet high. Parts of New England are girding for an accumulation of a foot of snow by the end of the day. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Alistair Darling, in London is making some news. He's forecast that the UK government will in fact borrow £5 billion more over the next 4 years after the UK economy unexpectedly shrank in the third quarter. Darling estimated that the deficit will total £611 billion in the 4 years through March of 2013, more than the £606 billion he expected back in April. He said the UK economy may shrink 4.75% this year. That's up from his April forecast of contraction of 3.75%. Darling said we must continue to support the economy until the recovery is established. To reduce the deficit while protecting frontline services or cuts, which put these services in danger, means borrowing more money. UK government bonds paired declines even as Darling spoke. The yield on the 10-year pound note was 4 basis points higher at 3.73 as of 12:55 p.m. London time. The Treasury shortfall of about 12% of GDP is the most in the group of 20 nations. Now switch to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news. AM Best has made a downgrade of Nove Insurance Company. It's not a surprising rating action as a result of the parent group's actions earlier this week to tie its business into the Lloyd's syndicate. Best has downgraded Nove's financial strength rating to B++, which is good, from A-, which was excellent, and it placed it under review with negative implications. Fitch has placed its A- rating on Nove on the negative watch. Best has also placed under review with negative implications various debt ratings issued by Nove and the holding group. Best said that the B++ rating will remain under review with negative implications while it assesses management's future plans for existing liabilities and the impact that the group's capital restructuring will have on the company. The lowercase BBB and lowercase BBB- issuer credit ratings of Nove Group and Nove Holdings each have also been placed under review, as Best said that it needs to evaluate the impact of the capital restructuring on the group's risk-adjusted capitalization. Fitch's stance reflects a belief that once placed into runoff, capital strength at Nove may be significantly below the current level. Fitch did note, though, that policyholders who are transferred to Nove's Lloyd's operation potentially do stand to benefit from the additional policyholder protection provided by the Lloyd's Central Fund. And here's an interesting story that was in Insurance Day today. RI3K, the London headquarters risk trading platform, is planning a major revamp next year, which will see it tie up with a global IT provider. The move, described by Chief Executive Alex Letts as, quote, re-energizing, will give the platform access to greater scale and allow it to focus on its core functionality areas.